It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview Leland Bruce, who works with Sports Dissected. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to work with Sports Dissected?
Uh, yeah, it kind of stems back from just me having a passion for sports and playing sports my whole life, honestly. So I think not I didn't really necessarily know I wanted to work for Sports Dissected per se, but I know I wanted to work in sports in some capacity just because it was a passion of mine, right? And one of the things that I remember I heard growing up is, 10 years from now, you may not be working for like the company that you're going to be working for, or what you're going to be doing may not even be invented yet, right? And that's kind of the same case with me. It's not something, it wasn't a goal of mine or an aspiration to work for Sports Dissected per se, but I did have a goal of working in sports media. So yeah, and then it just kind of, it kind of happened, you know what I mean? Just kind of from just sticking close to my passion, sticking close to the things that I love and what I like to revolve around as far as watching sports and playing sports, and just kind of naturally kind of came about.
What was the transition like for Sports Dissected to go from Sports Dissected to the COISKI?
COISKI, yeah, for sure. So it started off as COISKI, which is just short for Content is King. And that transition process uh, initially people like original fans of our content uh, we're still trying to get caught up with it because it was such a love for Koiski, right? The Koiski brand, as you can see on the helmet right here. George and the team did a great job of bringing Koiski forth. So that transition initially, it was a little shaky, only because we had people love Koiski so much. But Koiski hasn't gone anywhere. It's just transitioned. We changed the name to Sports Dissected, but Koiski still is the brains of the operation. If you
What
don't
it,
mind, can I ask you a question? What
yes.
how did you like the transition from Koiski to Sports Dissected, and
At
what brought you to Koiski initially?
at first I did not like the transition because I was, of course, I knew it by Koiski, but I then like after time it kind of w- grew on me because I did see y'all were trying to transition from obviously going on tours to colleges to actually sports stadiums and sports like companies.
Yeah, yeah. So initially you were upset.
Yes.
Okay. What about now? How do you feel?
After time it has grown on me.
Okay. Once again, Koiski has not gone anywhere. Koiski is still alive and well. Um, so trust me, you're gonna see some more Koiski stuff.
That's wonderful. What is the process like of coming up with content ideas?
It's really it's no deep or in depth process. It just stems from everybody on the team is passionate about sports. Is passionate um, about how things in sports work. So uh, it's not necessarily a process. I guess the hardest process is trying to get ideas um, to come to life. But as far as an actual process, it's not really. It's not an intricate process. It's just wake up in the morning. Hey, I love playing basketball. Now I have a question like, I wonder, you know, how a basketball court is kind of painted. You know what I mean? How it's kind of constructed, and that's kind of how the process starts.
What is it like being the marketing manager and brand manager for Sports Dissected?
Uh it's fun because we as a team get to come up with creative ways. It's just, yeah, that's my title, but everybody on the team uh, has their hands in the process, right? And how I can. describe it. It's fun. It's always a new goal or a new challenge that we kind of encounter weekly or on a daily basis. But at the end of the day, we're all passionate about sports and passionate about creativity. You know what I mean?
When it comes to deciding what colleges and even professional sports teams you go to, what is the process like of getting that approval from them?
Um, because of our reputation over the years and what we've kind of built, or what George and the original crew kind of built, it's not that difficult of a process. It's more so uh, just trying to figure out who we would like to be the subject for different episodes. But the process itself it's once again because of our reputation in the industry. It's not that difficult of a process.
Of course, I've noticed that you film a lot closely in days. What is the travel like, and when do you know like where to go?
Um, it the travel just kind of depends. Um, it could be it could be a same day turnaround trip. It could be over the course of a couple of days. So it really just a case by case basis, just depending on the story that we're trying to capture. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're all about, is just trying to tell those stories. Whether it be our Royal Key series, whether it's our Sports Dissected series where we show people how things are made, or whether it's the open the box series where we showcase different sneakers and things. But it really just it's a case by case thing. It's not a cookie cutter thing. You got to be pretty flexible just to and be on your toes.
Can you talk about the different series that you have, like you said, the Royal Keys and the Sports Dissected?
So yeah, break down Royal Key gives people a behind the scenes look at the different sports facilities as you're aware of, whether it be professional, collegiate, or high school. We've done across multiple sports. We've done lacrosse. We obviously your Power Fives in football and basketball. We've done soccer. So you kind of name it. What's your favorite episode of Royal Key that you've seen?
Mine has to be the Carolina Tar Heels basketball one.
Okay, what did you like about that facility the best?
Well, because I know, obviously, with going to games, I've never actually had that experience of like going behind the scenes and seeing all that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, the Carolina was nice. I visited Carolina when we did Sorenex, and which is the weight room company, and yeah, that facility is amazing. In the Carolina Blue, like you're lucky being in Carolina, man. You're right down the street. But another series we have is Sports Dissected, where we kind of show Sports Dissected the series, where we show people how things in sports are made. For instance, as you mentioned earlier off camera, we did the we visited Callaway recently and learned how a golf ball was made. We've done episodes with how a weight room is made, how professional sports weight room is made, i.e., with Sorenex while we came to North Carolina, Chapel Hill. But that series is once again just for me. I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd when it comes to sports. So I always want to know like how things are made. I'm really curious. So that's that series, and that's why that's kind of like my baby. Another one we have is Open the Box, where we show people where we showcase smaller boutiques that have sneakers and kind of streetwear, and show people how the Foot Lockers of the world, Foot Actions and Champs, they have great selections, but also a lot of these smaller boutiques have great selections and some of the rarer stuff that you can get, and also it helps promote small businesses, which is what we're really about. You know what I mean? It just helps kind of put them on a platform that they normally wouldn't have. Another one is I Collect, where we show people like yourself, you're a Carolina fan, right? And you told me you had a Carolina jersey. So we like to showcase what people kind of have. For instance, I would want to see, if I came to your house, I want to see the Michael Jordan jersey, right? I want to see the Tyler Hansbrough jersey. I got to see that, right? So we kind of showcase people's collections, because a lot of people they're not celebrities or famous or in that kind of light, but they have a big collection of things that are near and dear to them, near and dear to them, similar to yourself. Another one we have, which we kind of rolled out during the pandemic, was Battle Threads, which is where we put uh, viewers' favorite teams in head-to-head battles, just to kind of see who has the best gear. Have you checked that series out? Have you seen that one?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so uh, for one episode, probably our most popular one was University of Oregon football versus Oklahoma State football, where they kind of showcased the different helmets and jerseys and cleats. So that's a really fun series, just because it's competition, it has that competitive side to it, but it also showcases a lot of the stuff that people don't really get to see otherwise. So yeah, that kind of sums up our series.
Of course, when it comes to that, whenever we were in COVID and kind of in the pandemic mode, what were some of the things that y'all were doing because y'all couldn't go out to these facilities like Oregon, Carolina?
Um, we just had to get creative, right? And we also use the time for strategy. We use the time to kind of build out, how we want the future to look, kind of put episodes together, ideally conceptualize a lot of things because as you can probably attest, while you're working on a day to day basis, you don't really have much time unless you set it aside for actual strategy. So during the pandemic, it really gave us time to really step back, really put together a hardcore strategy, and then as soon as the pandemic kind of eased up a little bit, we can go full steam.
Of course, I know that you've gone to a lot of facilities now and visited them. How does it feel to put on that jersey and act like a prospective student athlete that is going on the official visit?
It's fun because personally, I didn't play college sports. I didn't play. I didn't play for a university, so it's cool to get that experience. It's cool to put these uniforms on, and then at the same time, I get to wear Eastern Washington full uniform or wear a North Carolina uniform, like some of the storied schools that we've seen, Alabama, Oregon, etc., that I've kind of saw on TV. But this allows me to get that kind of firsthand experience and really get that feel, and also it allows people like yourself and other viewers to kind of get that feel because a lot of times you don't really get to see that side of it. But when we're doing these tours, we're making sure that you, the viewer, are getting that same experience, and we want you guys to have that same feel. So while I may be putting the jersey on, we want you to feel like you're putting the jersey on too, so you can get there.
Of course, when you came up with the idea, how did you know, like, with being not many people are able to play collegiate sports, how did you know the idea of, oh, I want to go out and see if I can actually see what an official visit looks like?
Um, it wasn't really a no thing. It was a let's just try it. To be honest with you, it was just like let's try it. We're on the campus. Let's try it. Let's put on the uniform, uh, and once again, let's give. We want to with that series. We want to definitely inspire people that are young athletes, people that are not necessarily going to get that experience. Inspire them to either one, work hard enough so they can get that experience, or two, give them a view or a perspective like, hey, maybe I necessarily won't get recruited by this school, but I can see how they do it, and now I can apply that maybe at another type place in life, or also give them a something that they can work towards, so they can work maybe for the school. Maybe you can't play for North Carolina, but I've seen this process work now. Excuse me. I see how the equipment managers operate because I watched the series. Now, when I go in and I apply for North Carolina Chapel Hill job, hey, I already have the experience, or I'm a little bit aware of what's going on. So now I can, you know, hopefully land that position.
Can you talk about, of course, do you know a few days before that you're going like to Carolina, or is it like kind of a last minute, like, oh, I'm in the Chapel Hill area, let me run by and see if I can go in to visit them?
No, everything's planning. Everything is planned out. Uh, because you're working with large universities like that, and they have schedules, so everything is definitely kind of planned out in advance.
What is the big difference between the professionals and the college visits that you go on?
One of the biggest ones I would say is probably locker rooms, because at universities they tend to spend more of their budget on the locker room itself versus in a professional locker room, because obviously they're typically playing their assets are what's the players on the field. So definitely I think the college the college facilities they're really nice.
Of course, what is it like going to facilities like the Golden State Warriors and the Phoenix Suns?
So personally, I didn't go to either of those. So George, he uh he had me a little jealous that he was able to go to the Warriors facility. I didn't get to go personally. I wanted to go, right? I wanted to go to the Suns facility too because I'm a basketball player, so I want to definitely get some shots up, on the same goal that Steph Curry did. So I can't speak on that. I can't speak on that experience myself because I want to know too.
Of course, whenever it came to the professionals, do you only do basketball or have you gone to like professional footballs, baseball facilities, hockey?
So at the end of the day, our goal is to hit every professional sport across the plane. So if we haven't hit your favorite sport yet, if we haven't toured your favorite facility yet, just stick around, hit the subscribe button, stay active because we're eventually going to get there. Right, Brandon? You've been around. You've been following for like 3 years. You right?
Yep.
You can attest to
Yep.
that.
What are some of your favorite facilities that you visited?
Ooh. So once again, I didn't get to visit Oregon personally, but from the pictures and from talking to the team that actually went to Oregon, they say it was second to none, right? But for me personally, um, man, that's a good question. We've done quite a few episodes. Okay, so mine isn't actually a team or a yeah, isn't a team or a university. My favorite facility is Sorinex. So they're a weight room company based out of South Carolina, and it was next level. I mean, they had every piece of weight equipment that you can think of. Um, the team there was really down to earth. Everybody made you feel like family. And then it was another cool thing because they're a weight room company. Obviously, they have literally all the weight racks and everything in their showroom. But during their lunch breaks, people go lift weights, or during a meeting, like they're going to lift weights. So I was there, and by the time I left, just because I was around it so much, I had literally calluses on my fingers from lifting the weights and just talking to people. So that culture, that facility was next level. So that was one of my that may have been my second or third episode of the Sports Dissected the series, and to this day, they're still near and dear to my heart.
That brings up a good point when you said that they're on lunch breaks and stuff. Speaking about that, when you go to these facilities and these sports stadiums, do you spend the whole day there or do you spend half the day or just the morning?
It's case by case. It always changes, just because once again, like I mentioned earlier, there's no cookie cutter process. So it just depending on how deep we're getting into the story. It could be all day, it could be multiple days, it could be just in the morning. It all depends.
Of course, whenever you spend like half a day, do you also try to go to like other facilities? So, like for example, let's use Carolina for example. You might go to Carolina basketball, and then you might, since Duke is not even but like less than 30 minutes, go to Duke.
No, we typically the subject of that story or that piece is what we stay with. We don't we try to stay focused on that just to make sure that we're producing the best content of the best quality. So we focus on those particular subjects that we're filming.
Of course, in the Raleigh Triangle area, do you plan on going to more schools in the Raleigh Triangle area and in North Carolina in general?
Like I mentioned earlier, man, we want to hit as many facilities as possible. So if there's a university out there and they're willing to have us, we definitely want to come.
Have you hit have you hit at least one in all of the conferences?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I haven't really just sat and thought about that. I know we in total we have 51 episodes of the Royal Key series. So, and that ranges from basketball, soccer, uh, football, you name it. I would have to. I gotta get back to you on that one. That's a good question. I don't know. I have to do some more research.
Of course, can you talk about some of the differences between going to a facility versus like a soccer one that I saw?
um. So the soccer one that we did was at University of Central Florida. Um, it was really nice. The biggest difference between them is the size. Obviously, a football team is a lot larger than a basketball or soccer team. So usually that's usually the biggest difference. The facilities is the size. Like depending on the team, you have football. What is that? 54 players on a team, if not more. So yeah, it's definitely the size of the lockers from the size of the room itself.
What was it like for you to go to some of these facilities where famous and notable people, like I know when you went to Tennessee, you probably saw Peyton Manning's like statues and stuff like that and his honors.
It's pretty surreal. I have to admit, you're 1 week you're at Tennessee looking at Peyton Manning's memorabilia. The next you could be at a North Carolina looking at MJ stuff. So that's pretty surreal. It's one of the perks that to me personally never gets old. Right, I get to go see some of the. I get to walk on some of the grounds that these legends walked on. I went to Indiana State uh, and actually got to walk where Larry Bird got to shoot on a basketball goal, or in the gym that Larry Bird kind of made his name. So that it's always surreal and it's always fun. I never take it for granted.
What is something that you learned now that you didn't know before you started?
Hmm, that's a good question. Come on, Brandon, you're a natural at this, dude. Uh, that I didn't know before I got started. A lot of the fun facts about some of the schools. There's a lot of things that I've been learning, just the smaller stories that you wouldn't necessarily know. For example, Mississippi State football, they have one of the, if I'm not mistaken, one of the oldest football stadiums in the country. So that was a just like cool fun facts like that I've never known before.
What advice would you give somebody like me who is looking to get into going to these facilities, doing videos, or doing even like if they're a blog, doing something like this?
Uh, I would say stay hungry, um, and continue to just really every person that you meet, treat them well, treat them as if they're your best friend. You know what I mean? Or just treat them professional in every situation, every interaction that you have. Just be as professional as you can, and just treat people with love. At the end of the day, this is what it's all about. So it's about having love and having compassion for people. So if you just treat people how you would want to be treated, the golden rule, um, the sky's the limit.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find the course Sports Dissected at on social media, and of course you at?
Of course. So find us on all, across all platforms. That's at Sports Dissected. Uh, and then obviously on YouTube, that's at Sports Dissected. I'll stay out of this. Just follow the channel, follow what we're up to, and like I said, if we haven't done your facility yet, it's on the way. Trust me, it's coming.
Thank you again, Leland, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with Sports Dissected.
Thanks, Brandon. It was fun.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, And you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Leland, for your interview, and best of luck.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.